Hi everyone, this is my presentation for Assessment 3 and my designed outcome. So just to introduce, throughout the assessments, it became clear to me that postgraduate students specifically would benefit greatly from a streamlined communication tool to promote and improve their engagement and motivation towards the University of New South Wales O-Week. I chose to focus on postgraduates, both international and domestic, as there have been many changes made to their student life in response to COVID-19. It also means that naturally their priorities have changed since their undergraduate degree as their studies continue. So this tool must incorporate all stakeholders and a focus on industry professionalism as well. So furthering the idea, I came up with a how might we statement to add and provide more detail to my designed outcome. I decided to design an exclusive postgraduate app, not to entirely separate from the rest of the students and peers, but to focus on their experience and take away from the idea that university events such as O-Week are solely for undergraduate students. So the group research conducted in Assessment 2 highlighted the postgraduate students' desire to connect with peers. We found that the motivation was already there, and some had even taken it on themselves to action this already. The common response among the postgraduate participants was that there was an appeal for more networking opportunities and desire for industry exposure. So participants often stated that their most memorable moments from attending an O-Week, if they had already, was that they were involved in fun activities and it resulted in prizes and free merchandise, and they really appreciated that aspect. So I did some synthesis of this data through methods like Scamper and Mashup, and through Scamper I chose to combine kind of all scattered information on postgraduate events and O-Week to assist in creating a point of reference for all things postgraduate. So this will allow me to formulate something that will continue to be utilized and relevant outside of O-Week. And that kind of helped me come up with the name Grad Connect. And then through Mashup, I went through the modify and chose to add elements that were in demand of our participants, such as networking and industry experience. So Mashup was a great way of deciding what format the tool I should be doing. I use words like free, chat, and network to establish a kind of baseline. So this is my persona. I use the data from our group workshops to uncover some of the emotional and professional needs of the users. Jane has just become a postgraduate student at the University of New South Wales and is seeking connection to her new university. She hasn't studied since her undergraduate degree for about 3 years and would like to discover what University of New South Wales has to offer. So the storyboard highlights certain aspects of the problem space and user journey. So the user starts off unsure how to get postgraduate information, and she sees various opportunities to explore her degree on the Grad Connect app. And she then at the end can see that there's an option to share O-Week information and other career information with a friend. At this point, designing the app user flow, I asked myself questions based on what I wanted my users to observe before I focused on the visual design of the app. My aim was to have a balance between action, display, and decision, which I think was achieved looking at this graph. It assisted me in the layout and hierarchy of the user experience. So my low fidelity prototype consisted on sketches of the interface design. So this was a nice and quick way of getting my ideas out and building on them. I realized I had the tendency to over design because this was on paper. That's probably the only constraint. And when moving into the mid fidelity, I realized that there are some things that had to be modified to be made more app friendly. So here's the mid-fidelity prototype, and throughout this design, I wanted to create more engaging delivery of postgraduate student information so that it can sit comfortably along other social media apps in one's phone. I wanted it to be streamlined with minimal text, and this was more text was only offered if you went deeper into the app. So I use minimal wireframing to understand the user experience a bit better, like button size, hierarchy of widgets, etc. So the user feedback of the mid-fidelity prototype were really helpful. There were many emotional responses, such as a welcome page when opening the app. More emphasis on the bingo game, though, was required, and I could tell just from an observational point of view that my users were a bit confused with how the bingo game even worked. So I realized then that I had to provide more further instruction. So this is the high fidelity prototype with a yellow, black and blue color scheme to keep in theme with the uni. So in response to the user feedback, there is now a toolbar and a welcome page with the Grad Connect logo. The bingo game has 9 boxes in a grid formation, and each 3 boxes is a different level of intensity. So when all 3 boxes are complete, there is a prize to be won. So the prize gets more intense, gets greater as the intensity is increased. So you don't necessarily have to do all 9 boxes. So this essentially will make the game quite fast and easy, and can definitely be achieved in the days that O Week is running. So it won't be too long. So the outline of the bingo game was made more clear in the higher fidelity prototype, and I've provided more instructions there too. There's also a section where you can go into jobs and make yourself a profile and view them there, and look at any job descriptions as well. So some further considerations. I think pushing this app further, if it was to be, more testing of higher fidelity prototype would have to be made to observe motivation. I'd also like to see this in a O-week environment. So other things, I believe like it could be combined with the Universe app, and then section off areas for postgraduate and undergraduate students. Create more space for games like the Grad Connect Bingo, and furthermore, we can work on fine-tuning the user app flow for ease of access to other areas of the app, such as jobs and careers and internships and things like that. Thank you.